if you are going to get married, it's a deal breaker not to take your husband's name.
What are you willing to sacrifice if she intends to keep her surname?
If I love her enough to say, man, this guy when she will go catch me. How I go to explain to people up and down, say, I know fit get my wife to take my name. It will have to be something very important to me. I will have to equate it to money at some point.
What are we looking at?
Maybe $1 million. I'm cheap.
Welcome. It's Baze Buzz, and it's time for us to get into yet another great conversation. And pick your sides. Just get ready. Wale, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Ajin, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Looking very great. All right, so gentlemen and woman, let's get into this conversation right away as we are heading into it. It's something that would require you to pick a stand and what you would do. They say, no matter how long it takes, a stammerer will call the father's name, and that will be the basis where I want to get this conversation going. But we don't understand if any of these persons are stammerers. But when it push come to shove in a relationship and it's just barely 3 years in a marriage and now it is time like we need to go our separate ways. That's what the husband is saying. You need to get my surname and become my missus, or you either call it out of this marriage. Ajin, walk us into it.
Okay, so from what we know about marriage, I mean, I want to believe that normally before you get married to someone, you'd expect that certain discussions would have been had. But in this case, it's looking like this man probably did not have the discussion, or he's expecting, because normally culturally in that frame, it feels like you know what to do. Once you're married, automatically the man is now, you take the man's surname. So that is what it is. But then again, I would come from the standpoint of things are not the same as before. Marriage is based on love, commitment, and not just a name.
All right. Now, this is where I already see Wale is getting ready to get with the bullets right now. So, Wale, your arsenal. So, would this be a deal breaker at the moment where you've gone past the bridge already and it's like it's too late to go back 3 years, and then you feel now if she doesn't take a name, this is when you want to opt out of it?
Okay. For me, I'm asking a question like, you want to go to Ikoyi, but you don't want to cross the bridge.
Which of them? The link bridge?
Any of them. You have to choose one bridge at least to cross.
Okay.
You have to submit yourself to pass that water.
Yes.
Even if there were no bridges, you'd have to get a boat. You have to find your way there. But that journey there requires you to submit to some elements. And those elements are traditional in most cases. Do you understand? Tradition, I want to get married. You have to pay my bride price, man to woman. I want to get married. You have to go to court. There are some things that are traditional and cultural.
Well, whose tradition, though?
It doesn't matter. You were born into a tradition. If you want to change it, then it's up to you to prove to your partner that
the man was born into a tradition.
Yes, the woman was born into the same tradition.
They're not coming from the same point.
They are coming from the same. There is
my
standard.
Tradition doesn't say I should take your surname.
Which tradition is that one?
Ajin, which tradition is that
Which one?
What is a tradition?
Everywhere in the world.
Ajin, do you have Ajin's
tradition?
Tradition. We want to get
What is a tradition? Are you talking about cultural tradition? Like, what is a tradition?
Look, whatever
things that you do constantly and then it becomes a norm.
Now,
whatever you choose as your tradition, I, as a intending her husband, also know what a standard norm is. If you want to do your own, it's okay. I will say we will have to discuss it, and I will have to either agree or disagree. But don't assume that I should know that one that is not normal. That's all I'm saying. If you are going to marry me, you are going to change your name.
Surnames are symbolic.
Yes.
Well, but that's not the basis for you to say. It doesn't define a marriage.
It does define a marriage
How
because
does it
it's
define
a
a marriage?
defiance. It's a defiance
Defiance?
of it's a defiance of
For something you didn't even talk about. You met someone who has a different idea of marriage, names, and everything. You didn't talk about it, and then all of a sudden, Why didn't you ask as well?
No, come on. Are we supposed to start asking those kind of questions
Of
in
course.
relationships now?
Do you know the things that cause divorce?
Yeah.
Are the littlest things like you didn't press the toothpaste well. So why how come this one cannot be
And
asked
you-
about?
I'm not
Ajay-
aware that I have to have this conversation.
May I just-
If you don't like it, you are the one that should say, please, my own no wish like this. I'll say, okay.
All right. May I interject at this point and just look at it from this angle, and I'll have you come back again to do the boxing round once again. So normally, if what is a woman who's unmarried will be referred to as Miss, and then a woman who's married will become what?
Mrs.
So if you decide to keep your father's name, when by implication it says Mrs.,
Yes.
are you married to your father?
So one of the reasons I would say some people do not really like to change their names is for like personal identification and autonomy. Now let's say for instance you built a brand around a certain name, maybe like a celebrity. It takes a lot to change those names or people to detach themselves from who you were before. There are some people who are still married now, that we still don't call them by their marriage names. So what difference does
It's
it make?
okay. We understand
You're
there are
married
issues.
on the paper. It's written there. It doesn't change the fact that you're married.
Are you talking about an Instagram body that they
Not
are
an
claim
Instagram
to
body.
fame
I'm talking
is,
about celebrities till date that still have their own names. At the very least, we even still have
Oprah
people in
Winfrey.
society as well,
I mean, we have people that are keeping their names.
and they're doing
yes?
fine.
But you must have your husband must agree to it before he falls in love with you.
So-
It's a very serious matter. It borders on personal and religious beliefs. It borders on the ego of the man. It borders on so many things that the conversation is a deal breaker for most.
So your ego over what is putting my life, on track.
Yes.
You're saying you need women to step up, and then my
Yes.
name is what is in place.
Look, I am
to
saying
help me to step
have
up, and you're
the
telling me I should put your
conversation.
ego.
I'm saying have the conversation. Your E is okay. If there's an ego clash, then maybe we shouldn't go ahead in the marriage. Maybe it's a deal breaker. And if I agree that it's not a deal breaker, then I'll have to deal with it. But I have to agree because I really have to talk to myself to even agree in
Okay,
person.
so that means you should not just expect that I would know.
Yes. No, I should expect that you should know
Why
because
should
that's the norm.
It's not for me. Like I don't
So,
believe in that.
Hey, but you should tell me that you have changed your
And you
mind
should
though.
also ask.
Why?
Why
I am
shouldn't
the
you? Are we
one
not-
standing
is
the
it
normal
one person
ground.
getting into the marriage or two people?
Okay, let's also
How am
get
I
this.
supposed to assume that you
let's-
don't like
let's
wearing
get-
clothes at night?
Oh,
You must show
yeah,
me.
you are.
You
So
tell me now. See, I know they wear clothes to me personally. They
Same
enter
way
room
you,
and
as you want to not assume anything about me.
Yes.
The same way I will not want to assume anything about you.
I'm just saying that there are assumptions of standards,
no, but let's not.
family standards,
But again,
societal standards.
Wale raised a valid point here where it talks about bordering on ego and what if the change of name is a territory marker for a man?
It is a territory. It's not a what if. It's
What
a
do you say to
territory
that?
marker.
If it's
The
a territory
Mrs.
marker,
sign-
that whenever you go out, when you are asked, you introduce yourself, you are Mrs., and then the man's name
Yeah.
goes, and that's a territory marker, and people respect that.
If I'm Dangote now, you'll not be arguing this thing. No?
Like, see, I will always ask this question: what does your name bring to the table as well?
Oh.
You want me to change my name, which is fine. Change the name.
So,
okay.
Ajin, for you
So
to change
what
your
else?
name, the name must bring something to the table.
I'm not saying for it too, but if you're pushing for it, if I mention this your surname, what door is it opening for me?
Is it that if
What
your surname is
opportunity
better
it
than
bringing-
mine, you want to keep
I mean, you can't deny that there are better surnames out there that are opening doors. Hello.
There's some surname that can't move papers, right?
I mean,
If you want to marry, you have to make that consideration. It's not one of those things I am willing to concede. I mean, this world, when the woman wants to take everything from the man, including
men have taken
their rights to
almost
be,
everything from women.
it's okay now. You want to take it.
So
We're
what's
not
the
arguing,
difference?
but there are some lines we're not going past.
It's just a name.
It's not just a name.
just a name.
It's the identity of the marriage.
And I'm telling you, that's my
Mr.
identity.
and
I built
Mrs.
myself
What?
on it.
And you
When
don't want
you're
to
calling-
change.
When you want to call someone, maybe you go to like a function, they
Yeah.
will definitely address you as Mr. and Mrs. But like I always say to myself, if you didn't come to my wedding, if I told you a surname, how would you know if it's true or false?
I would just assume it's your husband's name, especially if you tell me you're
Beautiful.
married.
Hence why it's just a name.
Now,
I'm talking about me inside the house. So the other people don't have to know anything. I'm talking about me and you inside the house.
For me to take your surname, definitely it means it's because of the public eye that you want me to use.
It's not public, it's personal to me. It's an ego issue. My personal ego.
I'll use my surname in the house with you now. Abi,
I want you to change.
But doesn't that come across as you are not proud of the partner?
Exactly. Why are you in a relationship?
Proud of my partner?
Yeah, you are hiding the name, the spouse. Yeah.
Yes.
What are some people that don't even know their husband's name? They know them as baby, honey.
Look, he's an
ego issue. When you go outside at gym, will you be saying, "I'm Mrs. Baby"?
Well, who knows? I will tell you my name. I'll tell you my name, Ajing. And whatever name I use, if you don't know me before, you may not know if it is a Mrs. or a Miss. Unless you ask me.
I mean, yes, I will ask you. I will ask you, say, how far are you married? You will now say yes or no. Do you understand? But if there's ever a documentation, I want to see my name. I don't want to see your name.
This is where we get into the other nitty-gritties of what it takes. Would we say the reason why women today are pushing back, like we're seeing they had a night meeting already, and this is the pushback now of we want to keep our father's name or our maiden name, would be the rigors of what women tend to lose when they go through the process of getting to absorb the spouse's name.
Look, there's nothing easy on the planet. Nobody should expect it to be. And if it is cumbersome, then let's go into the process of making it less cumbersome. Collecting Nigerian passport was hard. It was like some uphill. Now, is in 24 hours, people are getting. If there's an issue, let's focus on if it's the time it's taking. We can get the government to simplify it. Some companies can. This is even business idea for somebody to say, don't worry, just pay me 30,000. I'll do everything. Paper publication, affidavit. It's quite a cumbersome process, but it must be done. That's what lawyers' jobs are. So, pay them. I will even pay myself. I don't need you bothering. I will pay.
Ajin, if that is off the table, if that can be sorted out, if it's about being cumbersome to get this processes done, the change of name process, because I understand as it is today, after marriage, the next thing you're expected to do is file those papers.
Yes,
and
immediately.
It's published in dailies. Just see it's small pages. It comes out.
It's a government regulation. Not be me put on there
now. I
now.
have already signed the certificate.
It's okay, but there are processes.
If you want to test whether I'm your wife or not, it's there on the certificate. I can't change that. It's legally there.
No. So you have to go about everywhere you go.
It's no stress. I will pay for it.
That's why it's a digital age. I will scan it for you now. Look. You want to see it? Oh yeah, see it on my scan.
So if this woman is seeking for protection right now, let's flip the coin now.
Yeah.
Wale, would you be willing to take up your wife's surname?
Why? Any reason why that is even a consideration on the table?
Because it's happening already in places of the world. In South Africa, a high court there's a high court ruling already.
I'm a cultural guy. And I keep saying the reason I'm a Christian is because my father is a Christian. I now fell in love with Christianity by myself. Mm-hmm. But my first intro to Christianity was my parents. And if I were born into a matrilineal society, I would most likely uphold the tenets of that society, whether or not I'm crazy about it. And if I have to take my wife's name, if that is what works, I would have to follow the culture or break out of the culture.
So easily, a man.
I mean, if it's if that is the culture.
You say like men just easily
there are culture. There are cultures where that is their standard norm. Ghana, for instance, the Akan people, they're matrilineal. There are people in Mozambique, they are all matrilineal. Culturally, you have to take the name of your of your wife.
But I come from the standpoint.
So how do we, just before you get in there, so how do we call in such society? Let's say you're married to maybe the Mandela family, and so as soon as you get married to, let's say, one of the daughters or granddaughters, you become. How do we address you now, Wale Mandela?
Yes.
I'm just looking at it from that point of view.
No. Look, we don't like to say it, or in the Bible. Okay. What did the Bible say about marriage? For this reason, shall a man leave his father and mother? Yeah. No, okay, history shows that there are other cultures in the world, including some of the oldest history in the world, that says that the man will leave his father and mother and go and be with a woman. That's matrilineal.
So, in essence, we really should even be bearing our our wives or spouses' name.
By
That's
virtue of
the Bible.
Christianity. By virtue of Christianity, it's part of it. I'm just saying that, look, we choose what we want. Unfortunately, our parents and our great-grandfathers chose for us. And we are following culture, set down standard.
Which is why we can now choose. Like right now, you have the choice to be a criminal or not if you wanted to.
Choose.
You can now choose to say to yourself that, see, this is how my parents started their lives.
Yeah.
But I don't want this path.
You owe me an explanation. You owe me. I'm not the one that's going to ask you that you don't like earrings. I mean, you should tell me that.
Should, at this rate,
Yeah.
the way we are now in society, you should ask because you don't want to assume. There's no time for assumption. Are you going to ask a man like you? There's so many questions you're going to ask different people right now because we are in a world where what you see is what you get, and if you don't ask, you don't get anything.
Look, I agree that a lot of women are thinking in this way. I also agree that a lot of men are against it. But there's a middle ground where a lot of people have taken, and that's the hyphenation of the names.
That's too long.
I've seen so many of those. It looks funny sometimes. So some of those people say, I think it's because they think their surname makes sense, so they put it there. Some make sense. Some used to make sense, and now really are wondering. Sorry, what's the essence of the two surnames? Because you thought your surname made sense.
So because you raised the idea of now, because we're looking for a middle ground, and
Yes.
because we must find a solution.
Yes.
Because now a couple, they're about to either it's time to go their separate ways.
Yes.
Now that you raised this idea of bringing the hyphen
Yeah.
to bring the name in, just before that, there is also the case of Tina Turner. Even though she was divorced, late Tina Turner, she kept on to that name, that Turner.
Yes.
So let's see it from that point of view, the hyphenation of the name. Will that be the solution for you, Ajin?
So before I hyphenate any name, I feel like for some people, what is the history behind this name? It's not every name you want to adopt. It's not every name you want to add to your own. There are even some cases, though they're rare, where some people no longer want to use their own. Some men no longer want to use their own family name because it has brought them more shame than good. So they either find a way to completely change it.
But this is marriage we're talking about. There are so extra social and spiritual problems. That's what you're delving into with
why
this.
Not? Because you want to marry someone, you love someone, you want to marry this person.
You don't want their name.
And this person does not want this name. So you can also.
How can you not love someone enough to want
someone taking their name?
To take their name.
Or if they tell you that, see, I love you, I don't like your name. It has a kind of symbolism that my spirit doesn't go with or something like that. You find a way to deal with it.
I
Me and my name were the same. More.
So it looks like
take me, you take my
you
name.
like swimming, but hey, you don't like
change their
getting into
names
water
from time to time for whatsoever reason. They may have criminal records. They change their names. So many things.
But I am saying that please, if you are going to get married, it's a deal breaker not to take your husband's name. Worst case, people have settled for hyphenation. But so even discuss itself, even if the guy agrees at the initial type of the relationship, when the real deal happens, he's going to explain to you.
I'm not saying I will not take your name.
Yes.
I'm saying in our certificate,
Yes.
your name is there.
Yes.
If I was to sign whatever thing that does not require me to go to the government or whatever, your name is there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if I have built something, a brand for myself, with my name and my surname, the possibility of just changing ASAP, I mean, I may change it, but not immediately.
What are you waiting for?
Some time, because my community, maybe I'm the social media personality, for instance, needs to start getting used to the fact that I am
announce to them
transforming.
Now. Announce to them that you have transformed.
So in summary,
let them know.
In summary, you're waiting for assurance.
I will take my time to change my name. And with all the
how long is the time you need?
Because as long as when I'm ready, I'll go and adjust it.
So you feel 3 years down the line, you can't make up your mind.
Still fresh now. They say 5 years. Marriage has 5 years mark. He has 10 years mark. You still have a long way to go. Is it name we're fighting for?
It's an all-in situation. If you are coming in, let's do it. Good or bad.
Leave name first. Let's sort out other bills.
Name is very important. I'll pay the lawyer. Don't worry.
So at this point, if your name is not bringing anything to the table, it seems like we have to double our Osuwale.
Me and my name, we are the same. You cannot separate me and my. You take me, you take my name. You are not going to tell me I take one. I don't.
And if the name doesn't sound like a Dangote or it Otodela to you, it seems like you're not rushing to take it.
I really don't
You
care.
get 3 years to
No, I really
think
don't
about
care
it.
about what the name sounds like. That's for me now. I'm just saying there should be room for this adjustment. You don't just throw something on me and then I take it immediately.
No, you agreed
If
to
I'm-
marry.
oh, we will talk about it. If it's
It's-
something I'm not comfortable with, I will let you know. But if you still agree to marry with hopes that maybe if I marry her now, her mind will just change immediately. I won't marry you. If the mind does not change ASAP,
This is the issue that we're dealing with here. A man is actually asking for the court to dissolve a marriage based on the fact that the woman refused to. It means that the man is saying that, look, this woman is telling me that we are not the same.
they didn't have that
Change
discussion.
of name is being equated to you don't want to be a part of my family. It's an ego issue. It's a respect
They
issue.
didn't have that discussion.
But when you marry, don't you marry into the two families? It's a merging of family beyond beyond individual.
Are their family and the other family come
Yes.
together? So we have two surnames now, Abby.
and
since
and
we
the
are
kids will
merging.
bear hyphenated names.
Since we're merging, we now have two surnames. So maybe we can edit our surname finally. It doesn't take time to
Look,
swear
if-
a new name in now.
If we're
Change your
doing
name.
negotiation here, we'll have to decide, how much my surname is worth and can you pay? If you think that your name is worth that much.
What are you willing to sacrifice if she intends to keep her surname, for example? And in this case, in situation now, what are you willing
If
to
I
do?
love her
Your eyes
enough,
away and say,
if
you know
I
what?
love her enough to say, man, this guy winchy, we go catch me. How I go to explain to people up and down, say, I know if it get my wife to take my name, it will have to be something very important to me. I will have to equate it to money at some point.
What are we looking at?
Maybe $1 million, I'm cheap.
Okay.
$1 million, just for me to be able to take the disgrace outside and explain. I might need to do social media adverts to tell people that sorry, I love my wife too much. I don't want her to feel
I
bad,
think
so
our
I've
world
accepted.
differ.
Yeah.
It's the world you're in.
Yeah.
You're in Nigeria, hence why you feel embarrassed. There are certain parts of
Yes.
the world where you will move to. Why?
marry
My
men
problem
there.
is, why do people shift their standard when they move abroad sometimes?
In other people's land,
Why?
you behave
No,
like
take your
them.
culture with you now.
No, sorry now.
Take it
My
with
culture
you.
is my identity.
Carry it with you.
No,
You go
no,
there,
no,
you
no.
dump it. Why?
Because
That's your
okay.
identity. You take that identity with you there, so they can identify you as the African man that you are. Why
I
are you
still
not
wear my
going to the
African
culture?
clothes now. But
Okay, guys.
I depend on.
This discussion continues. That's the beauty about Baze Buzz. So it's over to you now. What say you? Would you divorce your partner and let that partner go after 3 years of marriage because this partner, the woman in question, is unwilling to take the spouse's surname? That's what it is. And let's even begin to flip the table around. Should men even begin to think about, in Nigeria, what if I take up my wife's surname after marriage? Should that be like Wale's own? There must be a fact check tied to the name to it for you to consider it. Well, leave your comments right
checkbook
below.
issue.
Yes, just leave your comments right below. We'll be right back. It's Baze Buzz.